Hello, and welcome to Complete Chiropractic Healthcare on the website of Dr. Greg Arnold, www.pitchingdoc.com. Today we're going to be discussing my April 7th, 2016 newsletter, Stop Making Your Pictures Stand Tall. And if you click below the date, there's a hyperlink here which will pull up a PDF, and usually easier to read. So this is the third in what I'm calling my Stop series of newsletters. The first two being stop doing this throwing drill and stop focusing on the throwing arm. And if you go back to the website, you can click on the hyperlinks, which will take you to this newsletter about no longer doing this throwing drill, and then this newsletter why focusing on the throwing arm is actually doing more harm than good to pitchers. So today we're going to be talking about a concept that I hear quite often by coaches still, which is all about making the pitchers stand tall when they pitch. And this is usually taught with the belief that it changes the release point angle and gets them to throw downhill. And unfortunately, it doesn't work, and for a couple reasons. But when we're asking a pitcher to stand tall, we're asking them to assume a very unathletic posture. And if you look at this on the right side, this is a very common posture I see with the feet together, the knees bent, the back completely straight, and it's actually a very unathletic position. And when we look at every other sport, including hitting, and we look at this batting stance in the middle, we see the knees are bent, the hips are flexed. We look at basketball players, the knees are bent, the hips are flexed. This is a wrestler. Again, the same concept. You look at someone who's playing hockey, tennis, soccer, all of this, everybody assumes a universally athletic position. But why are we making pitchers stand like this? And what happens is that when you make a pitcher stand like this, it actually increases movement during the delivery. So the question I always ask is, why are we asking pitchers to do the opposite of what in every other sport is a universal position of athleticism? So actually making pitchers stand tall has been proven to be wrong for more than 10 years. And back in 2004, there was a study done in the Journal of Strength and Conditioning Research where they looked at the balance point in pitchers who did have one and pitchers who did not. And this was a balance point position is where you lift your knee straight up, the back leg stiffens, and coaches are teaching kids to be able to balance in this position. And they found out that pitchers who actually held this position and wound up standing tall actually had much more head movement during the delivery. And they saw that the greater the head movement, the worse the accuracy. And this is one of the statements in the paper. They said individuals who are less effective at stabilizing their head during the pitching delivery may experience imbalance leading to inaccuracy. So the whole point of this is that we want to actually have less movement during the delivery, not more. And having a balance point increases the overall movement of a pitcher during their motion, increasing the chance of having an inconsistent delivery. And the results were so compelling regarding the use of the balance point decreasing overall accuracy and even velocity, is that they said that they can't recommend the practice of the balance point to reduce pitching error because it doesn't work. So the goal when you're working with a pitcher is to start in a posture where their head stays steady to the plate. So a lot of times I'll ask my pitchers to say, well, give me your batting stance. And I'll say, however much you bend your knees when you hit, I want you to bend your knees when you pitch. And if we bend our knees to a certain level, that'll allow us to have a steady movement to the plate with our head. Now, if you have a pitcher who starts tall but stays tall and doesn't have much movement, then go ahead and leave them alone. But this is so unbelievably rare. I honestly can't remember seeing a pitcher or having a young pitcher who started really tall with their legs stiff and actually stayed up there. But if you see a lot of head movement, you have to put them in a more athletic position to make them more consistent. So we're going to look at some video to try to help us make this a little bit more sense. So if we look at the picture on the right, this is a very common position that we're talking about here, where the back is straight, the hips aren't flexed, and the knees are straight, and the feet are together. And what we see is the body doesn't want to be in this position. As this young pitcher starts to move, this is where he comes down to. This is his athletic position. So he has all this head movement already where he's going from here to here. His body wants to start in this position, not in this position. So the best thing we can do for him is to get him in a position where his knees are already this bent in the starting stance, so that when he goes to throw, all of his energy goes toward the plate. So this is a video of a first-time lesson where I haven't done anything yet with the pitcher. So this is where we want to be. So if we look at the pitcher on the right, where he is starting in a more athletic position, the knees are slightly bent, but we look at the difference in the green lines between this pitcher on the left and this pitcher on the right. Look at the greater gap between the two lines, between the pitcher on the right with all of this movement and the pitcher on the left where he's actually moving downhill. So the pitcher on the left has much less movement, is going to have much more consistency, and chances are actually have much better accuracy as well as velocity. So it's a very simple concept in the beginning, but it's something that is still being taught, that needs to stop being taught, because it's really taking the athlete out of the pitcher, making them very unathletic, creating too much movement, and really causing overall throwing problems. So hope you found this newsletter valuable. If you have any questions, you can contact me at my email, pitchingdoc@msn.com. Give a call to the number on the screen, or just visit my website at www.pitchingdoc.com. Thank you.